Hello, welcome to Sports World Have Your Say with me, Amanda Davis. And this week, I'm pretty glad I'm not a manager. Coming up in the next hour, is the Gooner a goner? How much longer do you give Arsene Wenger at Arsenal? They're pretty blue at Stamford Bridge too. What money that Andre Villas-Boas is the next to go? The FA Cup has added pressure to the pair of them this weekend, but some of you are telling us the competition as a whole has lost its shine. There's a riches to rags story at Rangers. It might be hard times, but the fans aren't beaten.
I'm not here to watch the game today. I'm here to support the club. I'm here, no matter who they were playing today. I think every Rangers fan wants to be here just to support the club.
And shirt swapping, the done thing or a desperate measure? Well, let's ask Reading's Jason Roberts. He's with me in the studio this week. Do you do it, Jason?
Well, I have done it in the past. I can't really do it unless I've won the match, but you're never quite sure what someone's going to do with your shirt when they get it. Are they going to use it to wash their car, or are they going to put it on the wall? You're never quite sure.
What do you think? Please get in touch. We are here for the next hour or so, hoping to get through as many of your points as possible. We've had people in touch from Uganda, Jersey, Saudi Arabia, South Sudan and Jamaica already today via Skype, email, Facebook and Twitter. Of course, the phone lines are available as well, so why not give us a call? But before we go any further, let's just pause for a summary of the latest news. OK, let's get going. The team is standing by. I'm here, Jason Roberts is here, Ibrahim is here, an Arsenal fan from Libya, and Dapo has got in touch as well, an Arsenal fan from Jamaica. All the build-up to this weekend's FA Cup games was about managers under pressure, and results haven't really done much to help that. It's gone from bad to worse for both Andre Villas-Boas and Arsene Wenger. So the question we're posing, who would you rather be on this Sunday evening? Jason, let's put that to you first.
Well, I think Arsene Wenger has a track record at Arsenal. He's achieved a lot of things. Many say he's changed and built the whole club. And, you know, the style of football he's delivered at Arsenal show that he's a top manager. Villas-Boas is a little bit different. Of course, he's been fantastic at Porto, but he's coming to Chelsea where he has to change the dressing room. There has to be a high turnover of the older players. So I guess, without a doubt, you'd certainly take the position of Wenger at this moment in time.
Well, actually, Andre Villas-Boas is the bookmakers' favourite to be the next Premier League manager to go. A few Arsenal fans, though, are not so sure about that. Dapo, what's your view on Arsene Wenger and his future?
Well, I don't think he'll leave this summer because his contract expires like the next 2 years, and Wenger always honours his contract. So what I believe is that the board might give him this summer to try and, you know, change the way the club is at the moment, maybe bringing some big name players and trying to improve. And if by this time next year Arsenal are still the same problem, then maybe he'll be asked to leave. But I don't think he'll be leaving this summer though.
Are you happy about that though, that he will be given that long in your opinion?
Well, Wenger has accomplished a lot for Arsenal, and for that I'm grateful, but I mean the past couple seasons he's been making mistakes after mistakes after mistakes, and he hasn't really tried to learn from them. So if he leaves this summer, I won't really be that sad, but if he gets another season to prove himself, then that might be for the best.
OK, well, let's bring you this that Wayne Nolte has posted on Facebook. He says Wenger is a great manager, but his stubbornness to go out and buy world-class players in recent years has cost him. There are too many ordinary players there now. He needs to bring in the quality needed. Ibrahim, do you agree?
Well, I don't really blame him completely. I also blame the board, because the board keeps pressuring him into making profits yearly. If you go back 6 or 7 years ago when there was the Invincibles, they had a very strong team and they actually paid like top money for top players. Henry didn't come cheap. He came for around 12 million euros or 13 million euros. We had Anelka, a couple of other players like Vieira. They paid for the people. But now it's a combination of his stubbornness and the board, because we're just paying 4 million and 5 million. We paid like 6 million, I think, for Scudacci, and he is rubbish. Total rubbish. He couldn't defend to save his life.
But on the flip side of that, there's people saying that the problem at Arsenal is that the board aren't being proactive enough. Surely they should take the decision that enough is enough for Arsene Wenger.
It's not Arsene Wenger's fault. He was here. Everything was okay when Dean was around, because he actually gave Arsene Wenger the assurance that there would be money to spend. But this new board, with the new American, I'm not really sure about his name, it's Kronich or something like that. With him taking over, well, we haven't seen any of the money. He just doesn't want to spend the money. He's more concerned with Denver Nuggets and Colorado Rapids. And if you look at both of them, they're making money, but they're not performing. It's the same thing with Arsenal. He took 60% now. He has 60.9, I think. He applied for full control, but like they didn't want to sell. And now the club is valued at around over $1 billion. There was reports coming out last week that it is valued at around over $1 billion. And yeah, he should invest more money into the current Arsenal squad, because people there, they don't show commitment, and they're not fighting for it. They don't want anything. And you also have to take into consideration that Arsene Wenger actually pampers them. He pampers his players. He gives them chances. He trusts them. And when they let them down like that, it's very miserable. It's like very sad, because when someone puts so much trust into his players and they let him down, I don't know. It's a disaster. The board and Arsene Wenger. It's both. You have to blame both. But if the board gave Arsene Wenger the money, I think he could change.
Okay, well, Arsenal arguably in a worse position than Chelsea, of course. They followed their 4-0 drubbing in the Champions League with exit from the FA Cup. But Hashimi is a Chelsea fan who joins us from London. Who do you think's in more danger, AVB or Arsene Wenger?
Well, most definitely would be AVB, based on the history. I mean, Arsene Wenger has brought cups to Arsenal. AVB hasn't done anything as such yet.
How disappointed are you about what has been happening on the pitch at Stamford Bridge?
Oh, very disappointed. As a avid Chelsea supporter, seeing the team lack a discipline to commitment to get the ball and to fight for the team, I find it very difficult to see on a last two Saturday, the Saturday before against Everton and the Saturday against Birmingham. You know, there didn't seem the commitment there. Once Drogba came on, there seemed to be a bit more fight in the team. And fortunately, I would say we actually got a draw out of it, and we have another chance in next month. Obviously, we're still in the Champions League, but based on the fact that Napoli won quite easily 3-0 away from home, and we struggled to draw against Birmingham, it looks very ominous for us in the next round.
So how much do you believe those claims from AVB yesterday that he's got the unconditional support of Roman Abramovich? Oh,
that's adamant. I mean, unfortunately, or fortunately from a Chelsea supporter's point of view, he owns the club and he decides who the manager is. I mean, from Jose Mourinho, when he brought him in, and everything looked like it was going smooth, he threw the bombshell and got rid of that manager. Since then, I don't think Chelsea have played the football that the owner wants. And he's hoping that AVB is going to do that, and that's why he's giving him this commitment, based, I think, on what he's seen him do at Porto. As such, maybe he doesn't have the players available at Chelsea at the moment to carry that out. How he will do that in the future by removing what I will call the old guard is going to be something that needs to be sorted out in the future.
I'd just like to come in on that. One of the things I would say there is that AVB has to make sure he comes in and changes the structure of the team. The issue being that they've been there before, they've been so successful, now there's a new guard coming in. Someone has to get the job to bring the money in to replace these players who have been so successful. Hashmi, how do you see that happening in the future? How do you see that change coming in? Because someone has to come in and change the identity of the club.
Well, yeah, that's very true. I mean, I would say that Mr. Abramovich has money that he will continue to invest in the club. But again, part of the club is that it has to maintain itself based on the sales of the tickets, and obviously to try and reduce the wages of the players. Again, the capacity of the current ground, as it is filled, is not sufficient to compete with the big boys, Arsenal, Man United and Man City. I mean, this is something that he's trying to do. It hasn't happened so far. And obviously, as you say, to get good players in, he has to spend money. And unfortunately, I can't see any other way than him putting his hand in his pocket and getting good players.
Lots of you have been getting in touch on Facebook and Twitter. MUFC Believe on Twitter, I wonder what team he supports, says AVB should resign. It's the worst Chelsea side I've seen in the last 8 years. What do you think about that?
No, I disagree with that. I don't believe it is the worst Chelsea side I've seen in the past 8 years. There have been some poor players in the team previously to this. It's just that perhaps the motivation is lacking and the commitment to fight for the ball. I mean, there's a lot of new laws that have come in regarding two-footed tackles and players getting sent off for what would in the past have not been sent off for, and this has made, I would say, a less committed team than in the past.
Yeah, what do you think? Please do get in touch with us. All the usual ways available on the side of your screen there. Maybe send us a tweet using the hashtag SWHYS, or why not pick up the phone, give us a call, country code 44 20 70 83 73 33. Jason, it's an interesting one, that, isn't it? Roman Abramovich being more and more present around the training ground in the last week. What sign is that sending out? Is it a message of support, or is it really putting the pressure on, do you think?
Well, many people are speculating about that. Is it a positive or is it a negative? I think it's showing support for the manager. I think he wants to show that he's there, he's behind his manager, and just letting the dissenting voices from the dressing room know that AVB retains his trust and his confidence, and he's going to stand by him and allow him to take the project, as AVB likes to call it, to take it into a different direction.
But why do you think we're not hearing from Abramovich? Surely, if he is backing his manager, why is he not going to come out and say, we're giving him 3 years, lay off him?
Well, I think he's been notoriously hard to pin down. I mean, he doesn't really come out and say too many things. I think certainly where this is concerned, he's keeping his powder dry, not saying too much. As much as I do believe that he is behind his manager, I think if results don't improve, he could turn and change his mind. And I think that's why he's not saying too much.
OK, well, let me read a few more of the messages. Le Beau Gang Filane on Facebook from Johannesburg says, I've always doubted the man, AVB. The Premier League is a stage too big for him. I really think he doesn't have enough experience. Suleimana Abdullah from Ghana says, how can a manager succeed without his players' support? He should be sacked before Chelsea is kicked out of the Champions League. An interesting point, that. Let's welcome Mark to the conversation, a friend of the programme, another Chelsea fan. What impact do you think a defeat in this week's Champions League game will have on villas-boas, Mark?
Well, all of us know what Mr. Roman Abramovich could do. I think if we are kicked out of the Champions League, Mr. Abramovich will also kick AVP out of the club. But I hope that's our only chance. We'll progress steadily, and we're going to win the Champions League. I still believe in our club. I still believe in Chelsea. I still believe in AVP. Even when things are not going wrong, I still believe there's a chance for us to do something. We saw the way we progressed into the second round. We charged Valencia, Torino. That was a good result.
Right, Mark says Chelsea are going to win the Champions League this week. What do you think? Please do get in touch. We'll be back here on Sports World Have Your Say in just a couple of minutes. You're watching Sports World Have Your Say. We've got Jason Roberts with us this week, and I can now say Reading's Jason Roberts. Since the last time he joined us on the programme, he has made that move from Blackburn Rovers, and it's really nice to have you here, Jason, with you scoring goals and your side winning. How's it going?
It's really good at the moment. I mean, you know, it's nice to be involved. It's nice to be out there scoring goals. We're doing very well at the moment. The last 3 games over the last 7 days, we've got picked up 9 points. So things are going well, and it's nice to be back scoring goals. 3 goals in the last 4 games, a good return.
And how do you rate Reading's chances of promotion then? Doing pretty well at the minute.
Yeah, well, obviously the Championship is a very competitive league. We're 3rd at the moment. There's every chance that we could catch the teams ahead of us. We have a good side, a settled side, certainly a side that knows how to win football matches. Maybe not playing the best football, but we're doing well at the moment.
You're watching Sports World Have Your Say. Who would you rather be, Arsene Wenger or Andre Villas-Boas? Yoki on Twitter using the hashtag SWHYS. Wenger without a doubt. AVB won't be there long term. Wenger might be able to pick his own job after Arsenal. Asit Wauju Alausa on Facebook. I'd rather be myself because both AVB and Wenger have lost their magic touch. AVB will be sacked on Tuesday in Naples, while Wenger will be booted out after the Spurs games. Kofi Daniel from Ghana. AVB is a good coach. He's going to succeed in Chelsea. We have quality players, and it's a matter of time to start winning. Ibrahim is with us, an Arsenal fan from Libya. Do you think Arsenal should give Arsene Wenger any more time at all?
Yes, of course. Because who's going to come right now in the middle of the season and pick up this very weak Arsenal side and succeed with them? Like, there's no one capable of taking the job right now. The squad is weak. There's many injuries, and it's one of the worst Arsenal sides that I've seen in a long time. Like, if they were to sack Wenger, who would come in and take his job? No one. No one is capable of achieving anything with this current team. So I say stick with Wenger, give him the summer transfer window, see what he can do.
Okay, well, let's welcome Chuck to the programme, an Arsenal fan from Nigeria who's called us from India. Of course, picked up the phone, used the country code +44 20 70 83 73 33. Chuck, what's your point?
Yes, I think I think Arsenal as a club, we need Arsene Wenger. He can go. We don't want him to go. But I would want the board to forget about profit. Just want all profit. We need some quality players. I don't want Arsenal maybe to go to Spanish league or Italy to look for players. We have some great players in the English league. The guy who tormented Arsenal yesterday, Cesar Young, and his Libya ball with £5 million or less or a little bit more than that. We don't want just staying every season without anything. We just want to win something, even if it's Carling Cup. We can't stay like this on and on. We, the fans, don't have anything we gain, only the passion and the supportship. And they have to know that Arsenal is a club that got large number of supporters from the whole world. They don't have to care about profit only. But to sum it up, I want Arsenal to stay definitely. But our exit from the other cups like Carling Cup and FA Cup and Champions League, which is definite, it will offer us opportunity of at least maintain the fourth position in the league. Without that, this season I think it's going to be very disastrous.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it? Particularly because in many ways Arsenal just clinging on to that Champions League place in the league simply because Chelsea are cocking up. An interesting point, though, that was made there. If not Arsene Wenger or indeed Andre Villas-Boas at Chelsea, which managers would you bring in, Dapo?
Me, if I had to choose, I think I'll choose Pep Guardiola because his contract is about to end this summer. And his philosophy is almost the same as Arsene Wenger because they both like to bring up young players and make them into world-class players. And also, their style of play is similar. You know, the whole passing thing that Arsenal likes to do is almost the same as Barcelona, which Fabregas brought in when he came. So I think if I had to choose, I would choose Pep Guardiola. And he's won trophies at Barcelona, tons of them. So,
well, Hashmi, if Arsenal are going to have Pep Guardiola, who does that leave for you?
That's what I was just thinking about. I think, looking at Wenger's record, I mean, what's wrong with Wenger for coming to Chelsea?
Do you think Chelsea fans would go for that?
No.
Jason, it is quite a serious point, actually, isn't it? We were talking about it in the office. But you can list on pretty much one finger, maybe two, the managers who could be in the frame.
Exactly. Without a doubt, and most of them actually are at top clubs already. Talk about Guardiola. Will he leave Barcelona to go to Arsenal with all the issues there? Have Arsenal got the budget to go out and challenge the big sides out there? No. From the other sides, I mean, who's won the stuff that Arsene Wenger has and is prepared to go to the likes of Arsenal? Also, that wasn't a bad shout about a job swap between Villas-Boas and Arsene Wenger.
Is there a danger here with Arsene Wenger hanging on for as long as he has and all this talk about 7 years without silverware, that actually he's damaging his legacy? He has been a great manager.
There is a case for that, but I think he has a belief that he can turn this around. He has a belief in the young players. You often look at it and you wonder, is it a case of him not spending the money or the club not having the money and releasing the money to him? The kind of person he is, it wouldn't surprise you if he wouldn't come out and say that, if that was the case. It's a really tough situation for him. 7 years without any trophies is not good enough for Arsenal, but this is a man who's revolutionised Premiership football. I think he's going to leave a mark at Arsenal and possibly be their greatest manager in history.
Packer World has tweeted using the hashtag SWHYS. Only a fool don't change his ways when he's losing. Wenger change now. Jean Didier, Arsenal Nate on Facebook. Arsenal will always be saying next season if Wenger and board are around. Follow Paul51 on Twitter. Arsenal need a change of direction. In Arsene we trust. Ha ha. At Ray Duffy on Twitter, Arsenal fans need to be careful what they wish for or sing for. Dapo, in terms of Arsene Wenger, if he's not going anywhere, how can he change things around? What will make him change things?
Well, he needs, the problem with Wenger is that he sells great players and replaces them with good players, and then he gives the average players like the Joru a contract extension. So that thinks that he needs to bring 1 or 2 potentially world-class players, like let's say even Hazard, for instance, from Lille, to make the club better. And also Arsenal lacks leadership, because in the Milan game and the Sunderland game, there wasn't really anybody driving the team to win. I mean, Wilshere can do that, but Wilshere is injured right now. So we need a leader, like a leader as well as a world-class player. And something that Arsenal also lacks is, I think, is a great playmaker, because I've noticed that Arsenal like to pass the ball too many times without anybody making that final ball to Van Persie.
The leadership issue is something that's been raised this week by Vieira, by Keown, by Bergkamp. Why is Arsene Wenger not listening to people like that?
Well, I think because he's stubborn. I mean, that's the only explanation I can give. You know, he believes in his ways, and nothing, in my opinion, make him change that. But if you look at Thomas Vermaelen, I think he can be that potential leader. And like I said, Jack Wilshere as well, but he's on the treatment table, so he can't really do anything right now. But I think what Wenger needs to mold Vermaelen and Wilshere into that leader that Arsenal needs if he's not willing to go out and buy a player.
Okay, well, Amitash Jain has got in touch on Facebook, stating the Chelsea case, says statistically AVB is in a better position than the Professor at the moment because the Blues have won silverware in recent seasons, whereas the Gunners have won nothing, which is a must-have for a top team like Arsenal. Mark, does that give you any reason to smile hearing that?
Yeah, of course I should smile. I still believe in Chelsea, but I still believe we have a good coach compared to the Professor. The Professor has been there for quite a long time now. We keep on seeing the team going season after season without a trophy. AVP has been there for, say, like 6 months, so we should give him a time. The case there are two different cases. We shouldn't compare AVP to Arsene Wenger. It's true, Arsene Wenger.
Mark, I'm just going to jump in there because I'm afraid we've got a few problems with your pictures. Jason, quickly from a player's point of view, AVB talking about his project doesn't need the faith of his players. How does that go down in a dressing room?
Well, I think there might be an element of the dressing room. We see that as a bit of a challenge. They're very successful. They've done a lot, that team, and they've done it with several different, well, I say several, 2 or 3 different managers. AVB's come in, he's had a short space of time as a manager.
Sorry, I'm going to have to jump in there because we're running out of time, but we'll be back in a couple of minutes here on Sports World. Have your say. Hello, you're watching Sports World Have Your Say on a week where it's gone from bad to worse for Arsene Wenger and Andre Villas-Boas. Who would you rather be tonight? Spurs were held to a goalless draw in the FA Cup by Stevenage from the third tier of English football. But Tottenham fans, how much do you really care? Is the magic of the cup running out? A club that knows all about silverware, though, is Rangers, SPL champions, but in administration. What does the future hold for them, and where do they go from here? Jason Roberts is with me in the studio this week on pretty good form. Get in touch and have your say. All the usual ways available. But before we go any further, let's get a summary of the latest news. You're watching Sports World Have Your Say. Lots of you have been getting in touch with us about the plight of managers Arsene Wenger and Andre Villas-Boas. Minso Watsanfor on Twitter has said AVB should be given more time to understand the game in England and get his choice of players. He came in a little unripe. Dominic has visited our Facebook page and said, fickle-minded. So-called Arsenal fans, you'll never appreciate what you have until you lose it. In Arsene, I trust. Raki has also visited the Facebook page and said Wenger should go. His project has failed. The sale of Cesc and Nasri was a shock to him until now. He can't come to terms with the fact he lost his stars. We need Guardiola. What do you think? Who is the manager in the biggest danger this weekend? Arsenal are out of the FA Cup, of course. They were beaten by Sunderland on Saturday. Chelsea face a replay, and so too do Spurs after their goalless draw against Stevenage earlier on today. On Sunday, big win for Liverpool. They beat Brighton 6-1. Stoke knocked out Crawley. I've got Hashmi, a Chelsea fan, with us. Sebastian joins us on Skype from Argentina, and Mark is a Chelsea fan. Jason Roberts is here with me in the studio. The question we are asking is, has the magic of the cup run out? Hashmi, for Chelsea fans, given the excitement or lack of after the result yesterday, I suppose no. Is that the case?
No, we have a very strong history in the FA Cup, going back obviously to 1970. We've won the cup in the last few years 4 or 5 occasions, and we enjoy our time at Wembley. I'm sure that when we come to the game on Tuesday, March, I think it's the 8th or the 6th, we will maintain our strength and go forward. With Drogba back, probably playing from the start of the game, I think we will go through and beat Birmingham and then face Leicester, as we did in 1997 when we faced Leicester and beat them 1-0 and went through to win the cup for the first time after a lifetime, basically.
Mark, how much heart do you take from the fact that Spurs drew today, so going to a replay, and with everything else going on in the Premier League as well?
Spurs is a very strong team. I think they probably approached the game slightly wrong today, because they should have really had the job done against Stevenage. And I think when they take them back to White Hart Lane, it'll be straightforward for them to go through. I see no problem with that for Spurs, and the fact that they are a very strong team. They have very strong players in depth. I see no problem for them at all.
Yeah, Mark, what's your view on that one?
Well, I think Spurs is a top form at the moment. They are certainly going to go through.
Jason, just talk to us about the magic of the FA Cup for a player.
Well, from a player's point of view, I've had some fantastic times in the FA Cup, and it still retains its magic, the opportunity to play against sides up and down the leagues, amateur teams. And I think we have to really be careful about the way we treat the FA Cup, because I think it's a unique thing. I think people from around the world look at it and are envious of the history that comes with the FA Cup. Certainly, I done the phone-in last night on BBC, and some of the callers called in, who actually, one particular caller said he preferred 3 points in the Champions League rather than progressing it in the FA Cup. And that's worrying for me, because as a player, and certainly watching the game, you want people to progress and feel good about the FA Cup, because it is a special competition.
It is.
I think, who's that? Is that Hashmi, I think, is agreeing with that point.
100%. 100%. I agree totally with what Jason said there. The FA Cup is very, very important. The history behind it, the feeling that the players get, the feeling that the fans get. I mean, I remember coming back after seeing Chelsea lose to Man United 4-0, I was so disappointed. But winning 1997 was like, it was so happy. I was so overwhelmed seeing the team win 97. It was something that will stay with me forever.
Hashmi, what would it mean for you, for your team to go through and win it this year, considering you haven't won anything for a while? And could this be a springboard for AVB to go on next season and maybe challenge for the title?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it gives you confidence. It's something that we have a history behind now. We're moving up that table of the number of times the FA Cup has been won by a club. And every time we're in there, I'll get really disappointed when we get knocked out. I mean, losing out on penalties. I mean, we've had such a strong history the last 10 years in this cup competition. To me, it's vital. It's absolutely vital. I can't see us winning the league, obviously, with the two Manchester clubs so far ahead and Spurs. And in terms of the Champions League, it will take near a miracle, really, for us to get anywhere in there to win it. And to tell you the truth, all our eggs are now really in the FA Cup. And to see us draw the way we did yesterday was very disappointing. And hopefully, when they play against Birmingham, they will have their heads on straight. John Terry hopefully will be back. Lampard will be back in the midfield. Drogba up front. And I would see only one team really winning.
Matt Siati on Twitter, actually, though, from the Middle East disagrees. He says, don't care about the FA Cup at all. Getting fourth place is better. But Gabriel Tiki on Facebook from Johannesburg says, it certainly matters. As an Arsenal fan going 7 years trophyless, it does matter. Let's welcome Bamba to the conversation, a Liberian Chelsea fan who's given us a call from Holland. How much does the FA Cup matter to you, Bamba?
Well, it means more to me. Nearly, for the time I've been living in Holland, I watch all of the Premier games from London, and I watch all the games. I'm a Chelsea fan.
Do you think then that it may be something of a problem just here in England and actually around the world? The FA Cup still is almost more of a spectacle than the Premier League.
Yes, the Premier League and the FA Cup means more to me. So nearly I watch all of Chelsea games, all of the English League games. I watch all. But now the position in which Chelsea is in now, I'm not satisfied at all. So nearly when Chelsea is playing, at this time, I don't never watch the game because I'm let down by the coach completely.
What do you want to see change, Bamba?
We need a change now at this movement. We need to change the coach. The coach, he's a good coach, but he doesn't know Chelsea too good. For the changes, I'm a good spectator. The changes I can see when Chelsea is playing game, he, the coach, he doesn't see that.
That's what I agree with.
So I'm surprised. So we want another coach that can come and bring Chelsea up to a limit. This is not time to say we should give you a lot of chance. The time will come. When will the time come? We will be going down. So we want to go up. You see, look at this time. You can see Mr. Focus Allison from Manchester United. He motivates the player. He talks to the children. He makes them move. But he's there standing, young fellow like him, and now Chelsea is just going down and down. We don't never win a game. So sometimes if when Chelsea is playing, it doesn't win game, I don't sleep at all.
Well, that means a lot of sleepless nights. You've only won 2 in 10, haven't you, Bamba? Thanks ever so much for joining in our conversation. Sebastian is with us from Argentina. How big is the FA Cup where you are?
Hello, thank you for having me on the show. Yes, I think it's going the other way here in Argentina and in Latin America in general, because I see the FA Cup is losing a bit of the interest that it has domestically in the UK, and that is probably because of how big the offer it is these days with television. You have games every day, you have different competitions, teams trying to get into the Champions League and the UEFA Europa League, and then they play with reserves in those competitions, so they focus on the Premier League, and they leave the FA Cup for last. And here is kind of going in the opposite direction, because we didn't have TV coverage before, and we heard about the stories of the FA Cup of old, and of course, as an Argentine myself, we heard stories and we saw that famous Ricky Villa goal that won the FA Cup for Spurs in the 80s. and we see the tournament as one, as Jason said before, we feel jealous about that competition. We are starting in Argentina the Copa Argentina, the Argentine Cup, and it's starting this year, and it's not having a lot of success. It's a new idea, it's a new tournament, and we could only dream of having a competition as prestigious and as important as the FA Cup in England. So these days we have a lot of TV coverage, and it's becoming more relevant for us, not only because we have more South American players in the UK, but also because we get to see these little stadiums like Stevenage today. We saw the game live today in Argentina on regular cable subscription. You don't need to pay-per-view these kind of games. So
I'm not sure whether Jason likes playing at little stadiums like Stevenage. Do you?
No, listen, I have to agree with Sebastian. Absolutely, the things he's saying. Exactly. I think we're in danger of taking it for granted how special it is, and to hear Sebastian talk about what it means to him and how happy he'd be that they could have something like this in Argentina makes me even more proud of the fact that the FA Cup, what it stands for, the fact that an amateur player could get the opportunity to play at Old Trafford or to play against Liverpool. Is this something that you would like to really see come out and do well in Argentina next year, Sebastian?
Well, absolutely, Jason. We have this, the format of the competition that is a similar competition to the FA Cup is done in a way that is not so romantic, so to speak, because it's all played in neutral grounds, and that takes a little bit of the interest that I think the FA Cup has. To me, the beauty of the FA Cup is to see giants like Man United, Tottenham, and other clubs, Arsenal, Chelsea, go to the grounds of these lower league sides, and that's the beauty of it. It gives the lower tier side a chance for a giant killing. And if you take them to a neutral ground like we are doing here in Argentina, it kind of makes the balance go through the window, because it's the favorite becomes even more the big club. You know, it's like they're playing at home because it's a neutral ground, but they have followers all over the country, and sometimes these little clubs have to supporters of these little clubs have to travel thousands of kilometers or miles to get to see their teams, and they're not playing at home, so they kind of not have the same possibility to beat them as if they were playing in their home ground with the home advantage.
Sebastian, I'm going to just jump in there because we've had loads of messages about this one. Tajini Lawal on Facebook agrees with you. The FA Cup still matters a lot here in northern Nigeria. The flair, suspense and giant-killing attributes of small clubs are still enjoyed over here. And Jude from Lagos says, we say Chelsea being held at home, Arsenal being knocked out and Everton still going strong. The FA Cup is a great competition. What do you think? Please do get in touch with us here on Sports World. Have your say. You're watching Sports World, have your say. We've been talking the importance of silverware. A team with a record domestic haul, of course, is Rangers in the SPL. But the defending SPL champions this week have gone into administration after 139 years of history. We've got Alan, a Rangers fan, with us. Well, what's your reaction to everything that's happened this week? It's been a pretty incredible week.
It's been a really bad time in the history for Rangers, but I think it's one that we will prevail from.
What's the biggest question, I suppose, for the supporters? Is it how do we get out of this, or is it what has happened?
It's the current owner. It's about the promises he's made and not delivered. The previous regime also. It's the overspending Rangers have done over the last 10 years. It's catching up with them. They've paid since, go back to Paul Gascoigne, Brian Laudrups, and then you've more recently in the 2000s where you've got your George Alberts, Michael Moles. You're paying big money for them, but it's caught up with them in the end. David Murray made an infamous statement saying for every £5 Celtic put down, I'll put down £10. And that has really come back and bit Rangers, because the current owner, Craig White, he got Rangers away from the bank, who were threatening to, you know, dispose of Rangers. He done that, took over, says, I'm going to give Alan McCoist a certain amount of money to help the club. He didn't do that. Obviously, we had our biggest asset, Nikica Jelavic. He could have won Rangers the title. They sold him for way a cut-off price. You know, the guy was worth double of what Everton paid for him. Selling him was a big mistake. Rangers says that Nikica Jelavic did want to leave. He comes out and says that he didn't. So, from that point of view, when we sold Nikica Jelavic, the league was over. Then getting deducted 10 points. Also, it's not been a really good time in the history of Rangers, but where liquidation is concerned, I can't see that happening. Rangers are too big a club, worldwide, you know, millions of fans. I think they will come out of this bigger and stronger, but obviously we have to wait on the announcement from administrators going through the books and seeing where all this money has went. And obviously the big thing hanging over Rangers just now is this tax case.
Jason, let me just bring you in there. Just try and put into context for us how big a blow it would be to lose Rangers from football.
Well, you're talking about a fantastic football club, a club with a rich history. I think Celtic, as much as Rangers, they need them to be there. I think Scottish football doesn't work without the other. I think that both of them are together, and without them, I think Scottish football just looks wrong. And I think, you know, Celtic have to be looking at this and wondering where this leaves them if Rangers do go to the wall, which I think everyone in football hopes doesn't happen. It's something that's happening too often in football, that there's too many issues with these financial situations. But it also brings into doubt all of the recent achievements that Rangers have been able to do, because when you're looking at the amount they've been spending and where the money's come from and where is it being attributed to, that also, you know, is another issue that people have to look at.
Yeah, there's those comments from Neil Lennon saying that Rangers should be stripped of their tainted titles and trophies. But let's bring this comment from Kevin Alexander on Facebook, saying there's the possibility the club could be liquidated and then resurrected as new Rangers. An SPL without Rangers would lose its TV deals and sponsorship appeal. Pretty disgusting if that happens. And Alan, there is a wider issue here for Scottish football, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, Peter Lawwell from Celtic's come out and says, you know, we don't need Rangers, we can go on our own. But, you know, Sky, they bring in money for showing both the Old Firm. If Rangers drop out, you know, when Rangers take away fans to the majority of the home stadiums in the SPL, there's just as much, if not many, more Rangers fans what there is home fans. So if you take out Rangers, you're taking away the money from gate receipts for these home teams. They don't get money. You know, Sky pulls the plug because, you know, they can't show Rangers anymore. The SPL overall will suffer.
Yeah, Green Hoops on Twitter says, you've no idea just how much we have enjoyed this week, using the hashtag sides sore from laughing, but you wonder the long-term repercussions, how long that laughing will go on. Paul Leclerc from Jersey on Facebook says, there'll only be one club in Scotland. It could be the end of Scottish football. Let's welcome Duncan, a Dunfermline fan who joins us from Vietnam. I want to ask you how a Dunfermline fan ends up in Vietnam, but first I'm going to ask you the view of fans of other clubs of what's happened to Rangers.
Well, yeah, I mean it's kind of a mix of you know, a bit of Schadenfreude, but at the same time, you know, it's just it's kind of indicative of you know, the state of Scottish football at the moment. As you know, I mean, it appears to be dying a fairly sort of slow and painful death.
Do you agree with Alan's view of the impact on Rangers' demise on the rest of the league?
Well, I mean, obviously it's going to have a big financial effect. I'm firmly already, we're owed £80,000, which we'll probably never see, which, for a club, club like us is quite a significant amount of money. But yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's a mess, I mean, we need this Sky money, but at the same time, you can't keep a club afloat, if it's not going to pay its tax bills. So it's it's going to have a big effect on Scottish football. So I mean, who knows how it's going to go.
James Bowie has tweeted using the hashtag SWHYS, Rangers will survive, clear the debts and carry on business as usual. But Duncan, would fans of Rangers rivals be happy if Rangers are saved, maybe using taxpayers' money, as some politicians have suggested?
I mean, that's a completely ridiculous notion. There's just, it defies logic that anyone would think that Rangers should be saved using taxpayers' money, especially the situation that we've got in the UK at the moment, sort of services, hospitals are getting cut, schools are getting cut. So yeah, there's no way that we should save a football club for money.
OK, we're going to end the programme on a somewhat lighter note today. Shirt swapping. Who thought cup competitions were all about winning silverware? In the Champions League this week, there was a case by Leverkusen teammates Michael Kadlec and Manuel Friedrich fought over Lionel Messi's shirt. In the end, they both got one, but after all their efforts, manager Rudi Völler has said they've got to donate them to charity. Jason, what is your stance on shirt swapping?
Only swap if you win. You can't swap if you've lost the game. You can't swap at half-time, and you certainly cannot fight over Lionel Messi's shirt at the end of the game.
Sebastian, whose shirt would you go for if anybody's?
I would do the same as the Leverkusen guys. It's Messi, and I think that it should be mandatory that the starting 11 of the opposing team should try and fight for a Messi shirt. He's a legend, you can see my smile. I'm so proud of him being from my team, from my country,
And Hashmi, I think you've been chuckling along to that as well.
Yes, I have. I think the person whose shirt I would go for would be Drogba, but not Lionel Messi.
Duncan, how about you? Whose shirt would you go for?
Oh, it'd have to be Messi every time, but I don't think I'd fit in his shirt these days.
Jason, does anyone ever ask for your shirt?
Yeah, I've been asked a few times, but like I said at the start of the show, you're never quite sure what they want it for. I don't want to turn up at someone's house and using my shirt to clean their car. You make sure it's looked after correctly.
Well, maybe a few Rangers fans and players should start collecting a few shirts. They might be able to sell them and earn a few quid and keep the club going a little bit longer. That's it. We've pretty much run out of time for this week's programme. Don't forget, you can carry on talking football throughout the week on the Twitter and Facebook pages. Jason will be at the helm, same time, same place next week. Do join him. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.